Hey, what's up, Street Talks? The Eric from the Eric from Street Photography blog. So I wanted to share with you this idea on success. I was at the gym today and I was just thinking to myself while in the dry sauna, why do we measure success by money? And it's not really like trying to make a moralistic judgment on it, whether it's good or bad to make money or whatever. It's like, why is it that we've learned to quantify our success via how many dollars we earn or how many dollars we have in the bank? And this is my theory. I think in modern times, especially with utilitarian society where everything needs to be tracked and measured or whatever, there's this notion of progress. And the notion of progress is actually a modern one. I don't almost like reading ancient Greek or Roman history or philosophy. The notion of progress is never mentioned, nor is the notion of success even mentioned. And so I just thought it was interesting because, and this is a tip, is when you're studying history or you're studying philosophy, rather than thinking about what people said in the past, think about what they didn't say in the past or what they didn't mention. I think this is like, in Nassim Taleb's word, via negativa, it's like a via negativa approach to living, thinking, and learning is like, and this is like another practical thing too. Even when I look at people who I consider successful, I never ask myself, what do they do to be successful? What do they do to be successful? I'm more curious, like, what do people not do in order to be successful? Things that I found interesting is that, like, for example, who are the people who don't have an Instagram or social media presence who are insanely successful? You know, Elon Musk, Jay-Z, and even in the rap game, Kendrick Lamar. I think he has an Instagram, but he doesn't even touch it. And so look for the outliers, look for people who go against the grain of conventional measures of success in terms of like what they decide not to do. But anyways, I'm getting a little bit off track. So when I was reading the Iliad and ancient Greek philosophy, I think if we think about the Homeric heroes like Achilles or even Hector, your success wasn't predicated on whether you won the battle or not, or even whether you lived or not. It was more predicated on how much courage and bravery you showed in battle. And I think this is super interesting to think about because, once again, it doesn't even matter whether you're on the winning side or the losing side. What mattered most is whether you're courageous or not. And I think there's a saying, I don't know if it was Heraclitus, one of the pre-Socratic philosophers, who said, all slain warriors are honored by the gods, which I interpret as, once again, if you showed courage in battle and war and you died, it almost doesn't matter whether you live or not. And even a lot of philosophers or martyrs from the past, they believed so deeply in what they believed in is that they're willing to give up their life for it, which is the ultimate proof of what you believe in. Because if you have skin in the game, you're willing to die for your beliefs. I mean, it doesn't even matter whether the beliefs are right or wrong. It's more of like, how deeply do you believe in your beliefs? And so I was thinking about photography, entrepreneurship, business life, and so forth. Perhaps we shouldn't, several things. Perhaps we shouldn't measure success because even the notion of measuring things is a very modern one. And generally, not always, but generally most modern thinking isn't as good as the ancient thinking. And also, perhaps we shouldn't even use the word success in the conventional way. Perhaps rather, we should just focus on our personal courage. Focusing on doing things we believe in, focusing on pursuing our passions, and really to speak your mind frankly and to, in the words of Gandhi, be the change which you wish to see in the world. I think the difficult thing is, in modern society, you're taught that if you're stubborn, it's a bad thing. If you're inflexible, it's a bad thing. But if you're really a hero and you have courage, you need to be inflexible. You need to have courage. You need to have the ability to stand on your own 2 feet and stand firm in terms of what you believe in. And you need the huevos, which is the eggs, to really stand up for what you believe in. Because I think ultimately, this is actually a random thing about success. It isn't about like living a successful life and having all these people build you statues, whatever. And I think it's actually Cato, one of the epic Roman stoic slash general slash politicians. He's when he the way he measured his success wasn't saying because for example, he was a very successful guy and he didn't have a statue built for him, and he said, I would prefer people ask why doesn't Cato have a statue than him having a statue. So it's once again interesting is that like think to myself, oh, there are some successful people that I see, why don't they have a statue dedicated to them? I think it's a better badge of honor for the long term. And so some things for myself. Aaron Kim doesn't have an Instagram, and the current Eric Kim photo on Instagram right now, I think it's a benevolent fan who created the account after I deleted it. So whoever's running it, kudos to you. It looks like you're doing a good job of curating my work. And even moving forward, thinking about my photography and life and business, entrepreneurship, stuff like that, I think one thing I've realized is that like this over obsession with money, it's kind of not a good one. Not because money is bad or anything like that, but the issue is that when you're trying to act, create things, stuff with the sole purpose of trying to make more money, you're generally going to pursue things which aren't as interesting to you. And I think this is what having financial independence is all about. It's about really showing your revealed preferences in terms of what do you actually want to do in your life? What do you really believe in? What is it that you're really passionate about? What's really meaningful to you? If you no longer really care for money, whether you used money as a measure of success, because there's a lot of rich people out there, like millionaires, billionaires, who have a lot of money, and they keep wanting more money because they're using the money as a metric of their success, rather than asking themselves, oh, if I lived in a post-monetary society where we didn't even have money, like once again in prehistoric times, or like even in ancient Roman times or ancient Greek times, there wasn't money. Money didn't exist. I mean, you had oxen, cattle, you had like gold bars, and you had like women and slaves and stuff like that, but you didn't have money. So I mean, for the most part, kings would flaunt like, oh, I have like 100,000 cattle or whatever, but like no one really cared. Once again, more so than kings were respected were the warriors who had courage. So ultimately for us friends, and as modern photographers and modern entrepreneurs, let us rather rate our success based on our personal courage, our personal bravery, the risks we're willing to take for what we believe in, and to have the courage in yourself to do things a little bit off script, to do things a little bit off the beaten path, to say things which are contrary to the herd or the prevailing majority, and to really stand firmly for what you believe in, right? So realize, once again, if you're watching this video, you're already an entrepreneur, and to become a greater entrepreneur, just take bigger risks. Peace out.